Atlas, the sister game of ARK, a game a lot of people out there love and wish it never became the seemingly abandoned project it appears to be now. Well, there's a bunch of mods you can at least install into ARK Survival Ascended to kind of emulate at least a part of Atlas, the creatures and structures that you know from the game, and bring them into a world of ARK for you to enjoy if you're still longing for a new pirate adventure. So don't forget to hit that like button and let's get into it. So first off, we've got the Atlas Skins mod, an official custom cosmetic you can apply to your builds on official servers and complements other skin mods really well. As you can see, if you want to make your own pirate ship, you definitely can with the Atlas Skins, giving it that yo-ho appeal, bringing back the doors you might remember from the She Santi game, able to turn medium decor boxes into steering wheels to give you that pirate ship look, and porthole windows has definitely give it that pirate look, with a great finish on some of the ceiling underparts especially. Obviously fitting really well for like a dock ship type of build. The pillars look great and certainly part and parcel with rope tied around the posts continuously, complementing the frontier structure pretty well, though just a bit off in the colour but close enough to not notice too much, with some lovely trims on some of the wall pieces depending on which ones you choose. It really goes together well for somebody who might want to live on the seas or be forced to live near the sea because there's nowhere else to build on PvE. It looks great, really interacting, blending well with all of the structures from vanilla ARK. Definitely reminds me of the Atlas that I remember, and almost complements some of the steampunk and wasteland structures as well. Most definitely something I'd highly recommend if you're a fan of Atlas and decide to build near the sea. And I love all these little trims as well on all of the wall pieces. It looks really nice and definitely something that wants to get me playing Atlas once again. With the mention this ship skin doesn't support regular gates and gateways and behemoth gates and gateways because they were never in Atlas, right? If you want to pretend you're living in Atlas buildings once again, but now in ARK Ascended, this is definitely the mod for you. If you wanted to bypass your raft builds looking like Atlas ships, well, there's a mod that actually brings in an Atlas trading ship, unlocked at level 50, requiring a hefty amount of paste more than anything, gives you a monstrous ship you might remember from the old Atlas games. Wow, with a health and bar that looks really similar to what it did in Atlas. Holding E on it, you can drive it, and away you go. Looking very much like the ships I remember back when playing Atlas some time ago. An absolute monster of a vessel with flags, cargo, all the amenities you might remember from the game of old, in a fantastic looking port from the game, giving you all the space you're ever gonna need if you want to have your own mobile base, with plenty of space underneath, a pretty sizable dock area, and another cabin within the front of the boat. If you're wondering, can be built on anywhere and everywhere, there's loads of space, so if you wanted to build a giant base, you can, able to sink foundations, get your cannons loaded. And if you're wondering, because I am, goes pretty well with the Atlas structure skin that we just showed in the previous one. Look at it. It's barely noticeable on the difference it's making. In fact, blends in really, really well. Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm a bit off center there, but you know, with a bit of time and patience, you're going to get this bang on. But this mod doesn't only offer this ship as well, moving at a pretty quick rate, by the way. I'm able to drift. I like that. Who knew you could drift with Atlas ships? Now you know you can. You also get access to a few of the weapons from Atlas, including the shield, which isn't just simply aesthetic, has a 5% chance to reflect back 100% of block damage back to the attacker, a dagger that has 20% chance to deal double damage, and a mace that has 10% chance to deal bleed damage. As well as that, the ship has a storage of 600 slots to store whatever you needed, with some option for creatures, but it wasn't clear to me on exactly how this works. Creatures can just simply stand on your ship. Cryos, not a problem, right? And while speaking of creatures, there's a bunch of them that have been added now in modded form for you to check out. A few of them that have been around for quite a while now. First off, the Atlas Creatures Felis, dubbed a skittish small carnivore that will run for the player unless they are prone and can be tamed passively with fish meat. Once tamed, if holding E, you'll find a bunch of interactions, a bit like the cat, you know, that's now in ARK, but also the ability to detect players with an auto hiss, as well as max level creature detected. So throwing it on your shoulder, it'll detect 150s by meowing, as you just saw there. A bit like a light pet, but with a cat variant. Standing upright and to attention if you run into a max level dino. As well as like the cat, able to scare away pegos, seagulls, and all the dirty interfering creatures on the map. And just like the cat, has the 9 lives available. So when it dies, if it dies, probably will die. But going in and having a good old crack, go on, son. It'll eventually wake up instead of dying. And tell you you've now got 8 lives instead of 9. That's cool. And speaking of cats, you can get the bigger variants, namely called Big Cats. Another mod by the same mod author, this time offering 3 different variants, the Leonis and Tigris, that are added to natural spawns, with a Liger variant only obtainable by breeding the male Leonis and the female Tigris. Once tamed via knockout and fed superior kibble, you'll gain a pack creature that gains a bonus from having others of it nearby, with some funky eye model, but definitely feeling a bit mean here. Able to cross big distances. Good grief, that thing's got a jump on it. In fact, it's like a powered up jump. All of which you'll notice you can saddle, and saddles apparently are in the same drops you'll find Thyla saddles in. And it turns out all have unique features on top. The Leonis can jump large distances by holding down the space bar. Can grab creatures in its mouth. I don't know if you just saw that. That's got a Microraptor in its mouth, but okay, not exactly quite a great animation there, but let's try and grab another one. Here we go. We can grab a Dilo. What the hell? With some interesting effects when you do grab something. Don't know whether that one was intended. So when roaring, you'll get a pack mate and pack leader buff, making these just a little bit stronger. As well as the Tigris, able to scare off smaller creatures, a bit like a Utifero, and able to bypass armor completely with their sharp fangs. And as you might have noticed, able to be ridden without the need of a saddle as well, but of course saddle's going to give you some extra protection. And the Ligra basically combines the abilities of both of those to do everything. Being a bigger, meaner, stronger version to scare stuff away, pick things up. This one keeping stuff in its mouth this time at the same scale. However, these unique variants apparently can't breed, so definitely hold on to them if you get lucky to breed one. And then from the same modder, the fish of Atlas. If you wanted a variety of fish, you can have them. There's 5 species of them. The Centropristis, or sea bass, or let's make it easy, sea bass, catfish, marlin, tuna, and Atlas eel. All of which you can trap and tame yourself if you want to. Able to bag your own tamed Atlas fish. I'm not 100% sure if they offer any buffs. Noticing when killed, they all simply just do offer you fish. And not much is known about these, apart from these looking like aesthetically cool fish from the game called Atlas, isn't it? And speaking of sea creatures, there's a Tuso costume that can import the trench squid from Atlas. Able to offer you the skin that you know, transforming it to something that looks a bit similar to those frankly frightening Krakens back in Atlas. Almost feeling like they're marginally quicker as well. But I think it's simply the animations. But yeah, looking absolutely frightening to encounter. And fingers crossed, I hope that this skin comes to official. At the moment, it's not available on official, but being almost a custom cosmetic, though not treated as one at the moment, I do hope that Bionics will find a way to bring it to official soon. But not only have they offered that skin, they've also offered a bunch of different skins. A Batman skin, if you wanted to say, I'm Batman. Okay. A cotton candy skin. A Deadpool skin. That's just pretty cool. A Squid Frosted skin. Squid Galaxy skin. A Joker skin. Monster. Pink Lemonade. Scab. Solid Black. Playboy. And Tron. If you wanted your squid to just have that accented appeal, innit? And wanted to look a bit Playboy, that looks lovely. Look at that thing. But if you wanted to maybe skip installing singular creatures, there's a giant Atlas creature mod that was kind of currently existing in ASE and has been imported to ASA, bringing a bunch of creatures that you may remember, a bunch of creatures that look a bit familiar to Astraias, but definitely some you will recall when playing Atlas, and maybe even the modded version of this back in ASE. And especially with some themes fitting to Astraias, could be a great fit for the map if you're playing it on unofficial, with some great looking menacing creatures that I wish I'd seen more of back in Atlas when I played it then. So first off, you got the Flying Fox, which feels more like an Onyx. However, does have day and night abilities. During the day, it gains 25% extra melee damage, 25% movement speed, that drains torpor at 750 torpor per second, but regenerates 15 health per second, with the unique ability of making sure to find one during the night if you're planning to knock out one. And its bite definitely packs some bark. Next up, the Kodiak, which, you know, it's a bear. You might remember this. I remember checking this one out before. With this one being immune to knockback when on all fours, but a slightly faster swimmer and runner than the dire bear, you'll notice this one pretty quickly traveling across any plane of water, with better health and overall damage. Able to left-click bite to harvest corpses and fibre, or right-click for high damage, as well as the ability to harvest honey and deal bonus damage to fish, which you can also switch into bipedal mode, which is insane. Look at this thing. Well, you can't move whilst you're stationary, but able to swing some haymakers for anything that comes near to your circle of death. Come on, kids. Oh yeah, dealing much more damage, but not able to do a fat lot else. Being very vulnerable to knock back in its prone stance, but once back down, won't be knocked back by anything. Then you've got the Mongrel Cyclops, which has a variety of different saddles. With this one most definitely looking the part. Look at the armor on that thing. That looks great. Look at the shield. Wow. With a variety of different things you can equip it to wield as well, including a cool looking greatsword, a great axe, and a bone mace. Gotta say, I like the sword. Possibly more. And interested, it feels a lot more chunkier, clunkier than the one Craetures has brought over with the Strayos. Bloody hell. Not moving very quick, and not as similar to a Ferox like the one in Craetures' Strayos companion mods. With this one being immune to knockback and needing to be ensnared with the chain bowler to tame, but apparently turns into a frenzy mode, which increases its damage and, oh, deals some whopping monstrous damage. Woo! Oh, that looks brilliant. Oh, it looks great. With a few other tricks under its hood, apparently. There's a roar. That actually looks really cool. And a 360 C-key club swing. What? That's insane. And inflicting bleed as well. This thing's disgusting. Absolutely monstrous. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. Love it. With apparently each weapon dealing different elements of damage, the greatsword causing a weapon to no longer be considered melee damage and preventing recoil effects, the great axe able to inherit a theory type of damage, and the bone mace able to inherit a rock golem damage type and grant a 15% chance to inflict broken bones. Then there's the razor tooth, which I couldn't find a way to figure out how to ride it without a saddle. It does say it needs a saddle, but there's no saddle within the engram list, so I wonder whether this is a bug to be patched in at the moment. But you may recall this thing. It's amazing. I remember seeing this in ASE before. It looks the part. It looks mean. Offering a variety of different roars, much like a Yeti. And in fact is dubbed the Polar Yeti. Not hunted in packs, but using their impressive speed in combination with sharp teeth to inflict some serious armor-piercing damage. Able to fear roar at a moment's notice. Able to do a gnashing bite as well. There is a cooldown on. And there we go. It uses the Yeti saddle, which makes kind of perfect sense. Seeing it being an anti-Yeti. But look at that. Dealing a dirty Gnash ability. Noticing where the hell did these ostriches come from? They must be from another mod. Definitely a fan favourite with this. I remember a load of people enjoying these back in ASE. And they do look great. Then we've got the Hammerhead. A fantastic looking shark. Look at this thing. Which is apparently immune to eels, electrocution, debuff, as well as jellyfish, of course. Apparently able to sense corpses, though I ain't noticing no corpses being sensed here. A left click that initiates a bleed buff. So having a dirty bleeder in the sea. On a pretty rapid shark at that. Coupled with a right click grab and maul attack. Holy crap. So able to grab things and oh my god, inflict some massive damage when it does. Oh, so look at that. And then we've got this shield horn, which is a bit of a trike-looking variant. Definitely moving much quicker than a trike. Being offered as a mid to late game creature. Able to do a left-click headbutt attack as well as a right-click stomp attack, which knocks back creatures. That's pretty cool. And then the croc, which looks great. Look at this thing. Looks mean, looks keen. I don't remember seeing these in Atlas before. And offers an immunity to bleeding, reducing the weight of heavy mineral resources in its inventory. A left-click bite, which harvests rock, acting a bit like an Anki. In fact, acting exactly like an Anki. If we hit some metal nodes, we're going to get a chunk of metal. Able to farm it in the bucket load, and of course with that weight reduction, giving you a pretty quicker version of the Anki. This thing's really cool to use. But not only that, offering a death roll drill that's apparently the same damage type as a tamed Giga. Woo! With high damage and DPS, but at a heavy stamina cost. As well as a lunge attack. Oh! Able to grab stuff in its teeth. And take him down for a nice snack. Oh, that's great. Allowing you to bite away underwater. Good grief. Oh, this is probably my favourite so far. And then lastly on this list, you might recognise this thing because it's a boss on Astraeus. But in this mod, able to be tamed with a chain bowler, gets you your very own Medusa. Immune to knockback and venom, not needing a saddle to ride one of these. Going to give you a tasty swipe attack. And all of the attacks, oh wow, that you may know from the boss version. With its claw attack inflicting a venom, its right click a blood shriek, offering a long range fast moving projectile attack, offering explosive damage on top, and a snake shot inflicting venom. Definitely all of the attacks that you know from the boss on Astraeus. In fact, might give you a little idea or two of what to do when fighting this thing. As well as a screech that pierces armor. Oh my god. Yeah, and it's just a monster. It is just a monster, honestly. This is like, this thing is endgame. Absolute endgame. Look at that damage. Draining health. Oh, it's dirt. Definitely something you want to get your hands on, without a doubt. Speaking of which, look at this thing down here. An ostrich. In another mod called the Ports of Atlas, you'll find a bunch of other Atlas creatures, including the ostrich that you can see here, trying to chase down our Medusa. Once tamed via knockout, apparently, gives you a pretty speedy mount that can jump decent distances and has simply a melee attack, but good grief, this thing can travel far. Offering an almost identical version to the croc, the AtlasStructureX in this mod, but with the saddle looking just slightly different. There isn't much to it. Size-wise looking marginally smaller. In fact, probably not as good a model as the original one, but a variant nonetheless. And a parrot, because who doesn't want a parrot if you've got your own Atlas pirate ship to traverse, right? Although it does appear with this parrot being tamed with a bowler that this one offers a crafting skill that when leveled will boost to match its own crafting skill if yours is lower, meaning removes the need of mind wipes every time you need to craft anything. As well as AtlasStructureX incorporating a bunch of Atlas Structure mods. However, in exploring the mods, all I could find was this smithy, and I see all the comments now about the medieval mod and why maybe there was some close links to Atlas. This one perhaps being the weakest of the bunch, but does offer an Atlas version of the smithy if you so wish to have that, right? And then finally the Atlas Reborn mod, offering the wolf, a ghost version of the wolf, a much horsier horse looking Equus, as well as a unicorn variant of that, as well as a Pegasus and an alicorn variant, and the hell, a very cool looking demonic dragon variant. Look at this. There isn't much explained to what to expect with these, so I guess we'll just have a quick go. The wolf seeming to do exactly what a wolf does. Does a sniff, does a bite, can jump, doesn't have a saddle, and the ghost variant being exactly the same, doing exactly what that one does too. The horse, of course, being a horse, because, you know, horses. Who doesn't want more horses in their life? Able to buckaroo. and do everything you know from an Equus. The unicorn doing the same too, but looking a bit more like a unicorn. It looks quite nice. Look at that. The Pegasus doing what a horse does, but of course the ability to fly, which I know you'll be happy about. Seeing that we've got the Dreadmare, we definitely need this thing. Doesn't glide, sadly, but is most definitely a Pegasus doing all the things a Pegasus does. Because it flies. Because it's Pegasus. I'm curious what the Alicorn is. What kind of variant is that? Is it just a cool-looking variant of it? Maybe it's because it's got a unicorn in it. So I guess, yeah, it's what the Pegasus is. But with a unicorn on top, you can get the full shebang. If you're into My Little Pony, you've got it all here on the back of this one. But if you want to kill My Little Pony, what better way to do it than a dragon boss that I can't ride? No. I think it's just an aesthetically looking cool thing. Yeah, I think it's just an aesthetic right now. It doesn't seem to do anything at all. What a shame. But it looks cool. I hope to see some work being done on this. So I guess as we jump on our Bone Brute variant of the Cyclops. Look at the size of this thing, man. Oh yeah, I forgot about the dolphin as well in that mod. Sorry. There's a dolphin. A dolphin-looking dolphin. So as we prepare to do battle in our Bone Brute variant of the Cyclops, look at this thing, man. Oh my god. Make sure to go check these mods. I'll leave links to all of these in the description. If you want to have your own version of Atlas in ARK, you can, to some extent. So, until the next one, my name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, peace out.